Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get this more natural makeup look. I do not have lashes on today. This video also has kind of a more in-depth tutorial on how to contour in it. I kind of broke it down a little bit slower so that it's easier to follow along. I really hope you guys enjoy this look, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to prep my skin a little bit, and I'm going to go in with the Henrikson Truth Serum. And then for moisturizer, I'm going to be using the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Moisturizer. So for primer, I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. My skin is a little bit worse than it normally is because I think that Touch and Soul primer caused my skin to break out, and so I'm trying to change most of the products that I've been using to see if that's actually what broke me out or if it's something else, because I normally never break out this bad, and it was really weird that I did. And then since my skin is a little bit more broken out, I am going to color correct today, and to do so I'm going to be using the Morphe Brushes 20 Concealer Palette. It looks like this. And I am going to be taking a little bit of the green, and I'm just going to place it where my face is a tiny bit more red. And to do so, I'm going to be using a concealer brush that I think I got from Tarte. And then I'm just going to go in with my damp beauty blender, and I'm just going to blend it out just a tiny bit. So when I put my foundation on, I don't want it to stay green. So for foundation today, I'm going to be mixing two. I'm going to be mixing the YSL Touche Eclat foundation in the color BR10 with the NARS All Day Luminous foundation in Mont Blanc. So then for concealer, I'm going to be going into the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. And I'm just going to start kind of halfway under my eye and make an upside down kind of triangle with it. And then I'm going to be blending it in with my beauty blender once again. And then to set my concealer, I'm going to be going in with the Kat Von D Lock-It Setting Powder. And then to set my foundation, I'm going to be going in with the MAC Mineralize Skin Finish in Medium. And to apply this, I'm going to be using a Wet n Wild powder brush. Start my brows, I'm going to be going in with the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Taupe, and I'm just going to kind of outline my brows and then fill them in using the Tarte Amazonian Clay Brow Mousse in Ash Brown.
Shape the mind, speeding up the pace, turning up the heat, where I need to be for the first time.
So then to highlight under my brow, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Highlighting Duo Pencil, and I'm going to take the shade that's more matte, and I'm just going to underline them. And then blend out with my finger. So then to prime my eyes, I'm going to be using the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. And to apply it, I'm going to be using a Real Techniques domed shadow brush. So for eyeshadow today, the first color I'm going to go into is Pinch from the Styled by Hrush palette from Tarte. And to apply it, I'm just going to take it on a MAC 217 brush. And I'm just going to use this as my transition shade and run it in my crease. Then I'm going to go into the color Kitty and using a Mikasa Beauty E320 brush. And I'm just going to lightly place this in the outer V of my eye.
Missing exits, glued to the pavement. Between the lines, I'll keep my gaze straight ahead as the last stop flies by. No more waiting for the gun to fire. No more walking through revolving doors. I've gone around once, and I don't need to go around.
Then going back into the MAC 217, I'm just going to blend it all together. Then I'm going to go into the shade Bliss, and I'm going to pack it on my lid using a Mikasa E310 brush. And then I'm going to go in with a MAC 219 brush, and I'm just going to go in with this Lancome Color Design shadow in the color Glowing Light and place it in my inner corner. And then I'm going to go back in using the Mikasa E310, and I'm just going to run Pinch on my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take a tiny bit of Kitty and just run it on the outer third of my lower lash line. And then for eyeliner, I'm going to be using the Sephora Collection Styroglyphic Fine Line Eyeliner. So then for mascara, I'm going to be using the Tarte's Lights Camera Flashes mascara. So then we're going to move on to contouring. So for contouring, as always, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit in light to medium. And to apply it, I'm going to be using a Real Techniques domed or a Real Techniques contour brush. And I'm just going to go into this middle shade right here and just swirl the brush around. And then I'm going to tap it off on my arm to make sure there's no extra product going into it. And I'm just going to start kind of at the top of my ear and then swipe down probably about to mid cheekbone to just kind of hollow out my cheek. And I'm just going to run it back and forth a couple times. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay, so then I'm going to go back into the middle shade, and And I'm just going to sweep it right along kind of my hairline in the corners. And I'm going to sweep it back kind of into my hair. So then I'm going to go into the middle top shade, which is the banana shade. And on just a big fluffy powder brush, I'm just going to run this under my eye where I set with the Kat Von D to kind of help brighten it just a tiny bit more. So then I'm going to warm my face back up with bronzer, and I'm going to be going into the Becca Chrissy Teigen palette, and I'm going to take the bronzer, which is called Malibu Soleil, and using a Real Techniques multitask brush, I'm just going to put a little on the brush and then tap it off on my wrist again. And then instead of putting it where I put the bronzer, I'm going to put it, kind of sweep it onto my actual like cheekbone. Lightly warm it back up. And then I'm going to sweep this into my hairline all around. And this is also going to go all the way across my forehead as well. And then I'm going to run it just a tiny bit under my jaw. So then for blush today, I'm going to be going back into the Styled by Hrush palette, and I'm going to be using the blush, which is called Cheeky. And to apply it, I'm going to be using the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself unicorn brush set, the powder brush. And I'm just going to take a little bit onto my brush. And then I'm just going to apply it kind of to the apples of my cheeks. So I'm just going to swipe it lightly. So for highlighter, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Fergie highlighter in the color Hollywood Boulevard. And this is probably one of my favorite highlighters that I own because it's not, it goes on gold, but it still looks really natural because it's got like the blush and the bronzer mixed into it as well. And so to apply it, I'm going to be using an IT Cosmetics fan brush. So I'm just going to lightly put some product on to the brush. And then on the tops of my cheekbones, I'm just going to run the brush back and forth to put the highlighter on. And then I'm going to also kind of put it around my eye. Generally, you want to highlight all the high points of your face, so I like to do like the tops of my brows and around, tops of my cheekbones, my nose, my cupid's bow, and just a tiny bit on my chin. So to do I always start out with the tip of my nose when I highlight, just because I like to highlight the tip of my nose more than I like to highlight anything else, and then I just like to kind of lightly run it down the bridge of my nose. But I like to not connect them because then it's just like one straight big thing of highlighter. And then I'm going to highlight my cupid's bow. And then just do a tiny bit on the chin. So to keep it more natural, I'm going to be using the YSL Pure Couture Rouge Pure Couture lipstick, the matte in the color 218. And then just to add a little bit more for my lips, I'm going to be going in with the Dior Addict Gloss in the color number 343. That's it for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this more natural makeup look with an in-depth contour tutorial in it as well. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and tell me what kind of videos you guys would like to see in the comments. See you later.